In the heart of the North Pole, in a bustling little place called Christmastown, lived a community of reindeer. Every year they trained hard, dreaming of one day pulling Santa Claus's sleigh. Among them was a young reindeer named Rudolph, born to Donder and his wife. From the moment he arrived, it was clear Rudolph was special. He had two big, curious eyes, a fluffy brown coat, and a very shiny nose. Not just shiny, but bright red, glowing with a light all its own. His parents were a bit worried. "What will the other reindeer say?" his father whispered, trying to cover the little nose with a bit of mud. But the glow always shone through. As Rudolph grew, so did the brightness of his nose. When he went out to play, the other young reindeer would stop and stare. Their games of hide-and-seek and tag would pause as soon as Rudolph joined in. "Look at his nose," they'd giggle. "It's like a big, silly lantern." They called him names, like Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, and they never let him join in any of their reindeer games. Rudolph would often wander off by himself, his head hanging low. He felt lonely and different. He'd watch the other reindeer practice their takeoffs, soaring into the winter sky, their hooves thudding gracefully back onto the snow. He wished more than anything that they would see past his nose and just see him. Rudolph, see. He tried everything to fit in, from hiding his nose under a scarf to trying to dim its glow by thinking sad thoughts, but nothing worked. The light was a part of him, and it seemed to shine brightest when he felt the most alone. Years passed, and Rudolph grew into a strong, handsome reindeer, but he was still an outcast. The teasing never stopped, and the loneliness was a constant companion. Then came one particularly foggy Christmas Eve. The fog was thicker than anyone in the North Pole had ever seen. It was like a great, grey blanket had been thrown over the world. Santa Claus paced back and forth in his workshop, his brow furrowed with worry. The elves loaded the sleigh, polishing every bell and buckle, but a sense of gloom hung in the air. "How will I ever deliver these presents?" Santa said to his trusted elves. "I can't even see the front of my sleigh. The children will wake up to empty stockings. This could be the end of Christmas." Just then, a faint, warm red light pierced through the thick fog, illuminating Santa's workshop. Santa peered out the window and saw Rudolph, standing by himself, his nose glowing brilliantly. Suddenly, Santa's eyes lit up with an idea. He rushed outside and walked right up to the young reindeer. Rudolph, startled, tried to hide his nose. "Don't hide it, young one," Santa said with a kind smile. "That nose of yours, ... it's magnificent. It's just what I need tonight." He looked at Rudolph, his voice full of hope. "Rudolph," he asked, "with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight?" Rudolph's heart leaped. He couldn't believe his ears. Santa Claus himself was asking for his help. He nodded eagerly, his nose glowing brighter than ever with excitement and pride. The other reindeer, who had been laughing just moments before, fell silent. They watched in awe as Santa led Rudolph to the very front of the sleigh, right at the head of the team. With Rudolph leading the way, his radiant nose cutting through the dense fog like a beacon, the sleigh lifted off the ground. They soared into the night sky, a streak of red light guiding them from house to house. The journey was smooth and fast. Thanks to Rudolph, Santa didn't miss a single home. When they returned to the North Pole, just as the sun was beginning to rise, all the reindeer and elves cheered. They lifted Rudolph onto their shoulders, shouting his name. Hooray for Rudolph! From that day on, no one ever made fun of Rudolph again. They realized that the very thing that made him different was the very thing that made him special. He had saved Christmas. And so, every year, when the night is dark and the weather is tricky, Santa calls on his most famous reindeer. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer became a hero, forever loved and celebrated by all. His light didn't just guide a sleigh, it showed everyone that our differences are what truly make us shine.